Welcome to Free Media, Free Minds. Free Media, Free Minds is a show that explores media freedom, diversity, and access to information. My name is Pumeza Mtekazi.
And I'm Helga Janssen. In our previous shows, we've spoken of the role of art and music in society. In our show today, we speak about street art, underground culture as a form of resistance to that which continues to make our society unequal. In particular, we focus on hip-hop, graffiti, and the street dance form of capoeira.
In studio, we are joined by a capoeira instructor, Marcio Lopes. And we're also joined by a hip-hop pioneer and a world-renowned cultural activist, Emil Jensen. Welcome to the both of you.
We're going to take a look at artists who practice the form of hip-hop and capoeira in Cape Town.
Twice a week in some of the more disadvantaged townships in Cape Town, kids between the ages of 8 and 12 are learning capoeira. The dance martial arts from Brazil, which has its roots in African slavery, is coming back to the continent and is serving as a source of development, discipline, and self-expression for some of South Africa's youth. The classes are led by members of Abada Capoeira, the biggest capoeira school in the world, through a non-profit organization called SIA, Capoeira Education Youth Association. This program is the only community capoeira initiative in South Africa. 31-year-old Marcio Beleza Lopez brought Abada Capoeira to Cape Town from his home country of Angola in 1998.
If I can be short, it requires dedication, it requires determination, it requires discipline.
Coming regularly to class, the children are able to develop this discipline through play and hard work, a combination that fosters self-esteem. 11-year-old Shannon Center signed herself up for capoeira in February, and her mother already sees capoeira as a positive influence in her daughter's life.
So she can focus more on her schoolwork and not focus on the people that in and out in the house and the drugs that's going on here.
Capoeira classes offer a safe playtime for these children who are growing up surrounded by gang violence and drugs and are often left to their own devices for care and development. The classes provide positive role models across race and gender lines and individual attention that the children might not receive in their home or school environments. Together with Beleza, Anna Elekrim Varsveld, 29, started the capoeira classes in January of 2008.
Where we're coming from is the idea that there should be as much equality as possible, and one of the big problems we have in South Africa is that we have these communities where there's simply no communication between them.
Her unique ability to speak Xhosa, Afrikaans, English and Portuguese not only allows her to translate the capoeira songs and key words, but also helps her to link the communities who don't often interact because of the legacy of years of apartheid.
They didn't quite know how to deal with each other, and then a couple of them were standing across from each other, and then they started to play capoeira, because that's what they know how to do, and that's what they know how to communicate.
Today the kids will participate in what is called a batizado, Portuguese for initiation, and receive their first corda, or rope. The batizado is the ultimate place for social equality. Discipline, dedication, and perseverance are the only things that count.
That was a clip showcasing hip-hop and capoeira in Cape Town.
Emile, let's start with you. Pioneer, founding member of Black Noise, long on the hip-hop scene, not only in Cape Town, but nationally and internationally. Give us an example in your experience where you've seen hip-hop positively and successfully penetrate a community. Is it possible?
I think that's what we've been doing since it started. You know, it started in the 80s, like 82. A lot of the kids who were b-boying or breakdancing were doing something other than what was available. In a lot of the townships, there's a lot of negative stuff happening. So that mere act, by actually dancing instead of being involved in whatever's negative, actually changed a lot of the way that people think. You know, and a lot of these kids, the amount of time that you put into actually learning to dance, it's a mind to body experience. So a lot of them, once they were going to the school environment or to the universities, like some of the guys that came out of there, like the one Papa I know of is a brain surgeon. Caramel used to dance with this one guy, Anthony, and Caramel is also like an acclaimed producer. You know, you got Ready D, you got all these people that use what they learned in hip hop and implement it into their daily existence, you know, as how to actually manifest like change, you know, so it is extremely powerful.
Now, Marcio, for a lot of people who are not familiar with capoeira, what is it? What are the elements of capoeira?
Oh, capoeira basically it's a Brazilian martial art developed by African slaves in Brazil. I mean, slaves were taken from their homeland without. We couldn't take anything with them. What they took was just their culture, you know. And then when they get there through oppression, there and then the mix of all these all Africans that they were there. And they kind of originated capoeira from basically a way of freedom as well.
And how did it come to South Africa, to Cape Town in particular? How was it big locally?
Well, when I arrived in Cape Town, I came here basically to study. I was I was looking for a capoeira school in Cape Town, and I couldn't find one. So basically, there was no capoeira in Cape Town, and then proper classes, structured classes, and then I decided to start teaching actually through Emile. That actually we met through two Swedish Abada Capoeira from Sweden. They came down through Emile to do some workshops, and then I meet him.
So there's synergy between the kind of work that Emile does in capoeira. But Emile, I want to ask you, so how do you, this is a dance form, how did you merge capoeira with hip hop? And are they, are young people actually attracted to it? And what is the form of resistance? Why is it resistant?
I think, initially most of us got involved in hip hop because it's sold as something as popular from the US, And when I went to Sweden and saw the guys do capoeira, there was, before that I actually danced in a circle where someone was playing a live drum, and it's a complete different feeling. And then I realized that this is something that's from Africa, And when I went to Sweden and saw capoeira, the guys were like, what you're doing with b-boying is sort of has a similar movement and a similar history to capoeira.
So what is the form, what is the resistance? Is it the movement, or is it the fact that it's a dance form that can be done anywhere?
The resistance is that you are finding yourself. And they say that if you take one step towards your ancestry or yourself, it will take two towards you. And the resistance is also that capoeira and hip-hop itself grew out of the oppression of the past. And people showed, and again, like you were saying, connected to their ancestry when they were faced with brutality and stood up. And capoeira is not a dance, it's a hidden martial arts. It acts as if it's a dance. So it will kick your ass if it wants to, but then when the slave master rocks up, they play music and make it sound like, we're just having a good time.
So what you're saying is that the slaves used a martial art, probably to get rid of frustration against slavery, but also to mask, through culture, to mask their resistance, if you like.
Yeah.
Yes, because when you are taking out of your homeland and then take it to somewhere without anything, so you want to resist that oppression. So the only way to resist that was what they have with them, like in the body. So, and capoeira was that, So it was kind of remember and keep the traditions alive to pass to their children where they come from, And then capoeira is alive today, and then it's come back to Africa. So where it's actually, it's originated from.
And I mean, there's stories within Brazil about a city called Palmeiras, where we all freed slaves, and there's a story about how capoeira was used many times to actually liberate a lot of these slaves.
So it has a liberatory...
Yeah, exactly. And for me, that was intriguing about getting it to come to South Africa. Because when you see capoeira, you see the similar movement as with b-boying. And a lot of the b-boys in South Africa or breakdancers, they don't realize that what they are practicing, or even hip-hop as a whole, that all of the elements have its root in Africa. And so it's almost like we're trying to copy something that we saw from out there, but its origins are here. And so we dance, we're not really dancing like ourselves yet.
So that's I want to ask him to pick up on that question. How are South African youth and the constituency that you work with, how are they responding to the history of capoeira, and that do they see the connection to their own conditions and to our own history?
It's we must remember the intention of a lot of people getting involved with hip hop today is about the glitz and the glamour. It's about the swag. It's about what they see on MTV, what they see there. So you're supplying them with images, and initially a lot of them don't get it. And it takes a while. The ones who stay long enough, they understand it. I mean, there are kids who have been with me for the last 9 years, and they just went to go dance in the Kalahari with the Bushmen. I took them to go and experience that. And when they were there, they were like, Dios mos vios is, man. So it takes a while for people to get it, because, there's such a lot of b-boys that when I say that this is who we are, where we're from, they're like, hell no, this is, it started in the Bronx. All the rhetoric from the past is perpetuated.
Marcio, Emil's talking about taking people overseas and all of that. So I'd like to find out from you, what role does capoeira play in the lives of the young adults, like the youth?
Well, as any other sport or activity, dance or hip hop, I think bring to the kids like something they feel proud of doing it, and self-confidence. Because notice like a lot of kids they don't have much positive things to do. So at school there is no sports, or if there's nothing structured. There is no instructor there who can tell them what to do, and then my objective was to take capoeira to the communities, to empower the kids, but also I know that it will be back. It will give back to capoeira as well, because that's the way I think it works.
I want to ask you how, and maybe both of you, before we go to break, how is the state, the bureaucracy, how do they respond? Because this is, after all, underground, if you like. It's a form of resistance, but it's not ballet. It's not jazz, It's fairly in your face. So how, the spaces that you want to use, how is the city of Cape Town, for example, how do they respond? Let's start with Marcio, and then Emil, you can go.
Well, it takes a while for you to get support, from the city of Cape Town. First of all, I think you need to go there and show that actually it's something that the kids, the community needs.
Yes.
And then what you're doing, it's make a difference in the communities. Yeah. But if you just go there with proposals and stuff without doing anything, showing the field that's what you can do, I think it's very hard for the city to believe. But now, we are getting some funding from the city, supporting the project, but we need to...
hold that thought, because we're going to come back, and Emil, I know you want to respond to this. After 20 years, I know you want to respond to this. Don't go away, we're going to an ad break.
welcome back. You tuned into Free Media, Free Minds, and we are discussing the art resistance. Now, before we went to the ad break in Mel, you were going to respond to the question of how has the state responded, or how is it responding to this form of art?
I think because of the duration that I've been involved, it depends on who what regime is in power. Initially, it was during apartheid. It was about the resistance, and about speaking out against what was going on. And contrary to popular belief, hip hop did not have a huge influence on the political environment because we were still very young and didn't know much. It took a while, and only around about the 90s, when we were getting information about black consciousness from international sources, we were realizing that the picture of this freedom that we're talking about in South Africa is not really what it's made out to be. The democracy is actually a demockery, and that we're giving away all of our wealth and in South Africa. And so a lot of hip hop information made us see the truth way before like a lot of South Africa, the rest of South Africa got to see.
So now we have democracy. What are you resisting now?
No, we don't have democracy.
We don't have democracy.
Democracy is about everybody having enough knowledge to make a decision, an informed decision. This isn't democracy.
What is this?
This is a mockery. People have not received enough information to really make choices that will change things. This is a capitalist democracy. So it's a contradiction within itself, because ultimately money decides globally. We don't decide. If we decided, then they won't be building a mall at the Flay. If we decided, they would not be putting e-tolls up in this country. So this country we are fooled about this being a democracy.
But isn't this the opposite of what our leaders are saying? I mean, all around the world, our ministers and our, people go and say, South Africa, the sexiest democracy on country. We have this free constitution.
That's an illusion. It's a clever structured illusion, because if you have a bunch of puppets that you get to pay to say whatever they want them to say, then you can give the illusion of a democracy. But nothing has changed financially. Like the mines are still run by the same people. The money in South Africa, 95% of our wealth is owned by white South Africa.
So, hip-hop, capoeira, street art, graffiti. How is this challenging this democracy as you call it? Marcio, maybe you want to jump in here. I'm finding it a little bit hard to merge this.
It's just, me as a professional of capoeira, I have to go a bit against the system, that is in place to be able to survive, So it's just a challenge in itself, because, you need, and then that's what I want to create. I want to create like maybe industry structures where people, with the passion for capoeira, they can come through and then make a living out of it.
But what makes capoeira attractive? Is it because we're all dancing together? What is it about? Describe capoeira for our viewers at home who may not have seen it before.
No, it's the thing is like, okay, people say, okay, you can do some flips and then looks nice, but it's not about that. When you go deep into it, it's the feelings, the feeling that you feel when you do it, and for some people, it's just a way of living, a way of life. So for me, I teach people every day, and I make all my living out of capoeira. So it is a holistic way of life for me,
I think the most amazing thing is that as an artist, you're able to make a living. Mm-hmm. As a performing artist, you're saying that this is your living. Yeah. But I think, Pumeza, we need to ask Emile, I want to come back to this, because I know that the city of Cape Town is criminalizing graffiti artists through this new bylaw. Emile, tell us about this.
See, capitalism doesn't want you to be creative, because creativity will bring about a revolution. Because revolution is
Emile,
about
come
creativity.
on, there are some pretty creative people out there who are rich. Come on, what?
Look, that in itself is a revolution. Like, I've been able to survive with my skill, my creative skill. I'm a qualified school teacher. I left teaching for 20 years. I've just been surviving of being creative. And I'm not talking about just emceeing, I'm not even an MC in my mind. I don't think myself as such.
MC being?
A master of the ceremony. Okay. The guy that controls the mic, the so-called rapper.
Okay, why are you still doing this after so many years?
Because this is my form of expression. And if I can show kids that they can be on television and do whatever they want, but still maintain their own integrity, that is more important than anything else.
Okay, I want to come back to this question about the city of Cape Town. This is my bugbear.
Okay.
They are criminalizing graffiti artists. And we have some amazing spaces, Emil, you know.
But that's my point. Like as soon as you're able to show an alternative to what they are preaching, they find that as being contradictory. And they want to quell that. They want to silence any voices that are showing that you can be creative. You know, and I'll give you an example. I go to schools and I tell kids, like all the kids look around and tell me one thing that an artist created. And they're like, you know, in the school hall, they're like, okay, where's that sign that they draw, like no smoking?
Yeah.
But when I say, okay, aside from that, then everybody's like, damn, everything. Someone designed the building, the chair, the table, the clothing, the earrings, everything. And that's the power of creation. But then I ask, why do your parents say, find a real job? Someone is out there telling us not to be creative so that they can import products and we essentially become consumers and slaves within our own country. So it's important for capitalism to maintain that mentality. And that's all this government is doing. They need to keep the money that runs things in the same place. And capitalism is about a few having control over the many. And in that environment, you can't have a democracy. And to come back to what I was saying. So the city of Cape Town supports capitalism and that agenda. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Because the people pushing that agenda is getting money from that same money source.
So what are you saying? Are you saying is democracy about money?
I'm saying a capitalist democracy is about money. And that's what we have. Like people like throwing the word democracy out there without the word capitalist. And that's important. You must understand the first word is a capitalist democracy. It's not just a democracy. You know, it's the same reason why we have the most brilliant MCs in South Africa, right? And they can't find work. But the ones who are light enough, the M&Ms, because white people have the money from the oppression. The best Zulu musician in South Africa is a white guy. Why? He's not even Zulu.
No,
You understand what I'm saying? Elvis, another example. You know, he didn't create rock and roll, but he makes the most money. The global
I think
economy.
you're going to get some people out there who are going to be seriously a bit disturbed if you're saying Elvis did not invent rock and roll.
No, he didn't. Chuck Berry did.
Yeah, I know Chuck Berry did.
No, Marcia, any thoughts? Any thoughts?
Any thoughts?
Yes. On if democracy is about money.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You know, I mean, as what our education system these days, you know, that they basically teach you how to survive on this capitalist world. You know, they don't tell you that you do what you love. You know, I mean. And for me, for example, I went against the system, against my parents to do what I like it, you know. And then that's what I'm trying to transmit to the kids, give to the kids, is that, you know, give them the freedom to be able to do what they like it, and, you know, and that opportunity, and not like just become somebody that goes to office and then.
Marcia, you touched on creativity and how people equate monetary success with creative success. Of course, that's not always true. But in the work that both of you do, what are some of the central messages that you want to impart, that you want penetrating your youth participants? Marcia?
I mean, mostly, more important, I want to educate it. That's the most important thing.
Educate about what?
Just being construct citizen, you know, a person who grow up, I mean, have a right choice in their lives, that they can take care of themselves first, and future they take care of their families, and you know, in a very dignified way, like you know. So and then secondly is to teach them martial arts, capoeira, you know. Through that, we do the education so that he grow up as a man, you know, can take care of himself, or a woman, you know, can be a constructive citizen for the society, and then give and then also tell them that they can do what they love, not just like what they have to become something that the society expect them to be. You know, and then sometimes your father expects to be a doctor, or to be a technician, or to be a this and that. But to say, I mean, you can do, you know, what you
Emil,
love to
your
do.
main messages?
Yeah, for me, the fact that there's a circle, people clapping. Like if they don't clap, that's symbolic. I actually use this when I teach. That if they don't clap, then there's no support. Then there's no rhythm. You know, so you need to support. We need to support each other, and that is something that is very difficult in especially in Cape Town. You know, we need to put financially back into our own communities, which we don't very often do. So that message I bring across. Then the kids step forward into the circle. It takes a lot to stand outside of the circle representing the world, to be in the middle and everybody watching you. And that for me is extremely powerful, because then that kid feels not only the ability to dance on his own, but also to stand out in society and take charge. And if you want a real democracy, you need people that also step forward and not have a gang mentality or a tribe mentality or a race mentality. And that for me is the the liberating thing about b-boying. And there are a lot of examples. Like there are people right now, Rasta b-boy who's from Mitchell's Plain. He's living in Germany, and he's part of a group, b-boy Curse as well, called Africa. They're touring Europe at the moment, getting paid from, and these are kids that came through the workshops and the classes that we did over the years. You know, there's a b-boy Dwayne who's doing a lot of commercial work at the moment. You know, so these kids are earning. There's a b-boy that went through Black Noise who's now working for the education department in the Western Cape, and he's teaching dance or hip hop in various schools. So there are a lot of success stories. The kids that I work with in Lavender Hill, you know, they just finished an album, you know, on their own, and they toured throughout the country to the Bushman community. So there's a lot of example of how the interaction and the ability to stand out can make you both generate the income for yourself, but you also need to be realistic about what we are faced with. The version of hip-hop that I do is not the hip-hop that's been sold by the
So there's a distinct
media.
difference.
There's
Just
a
very
huge,
quickly,
there's a
Emil,
huge
tell us about
difference.
that difference.
The difference is that capitalism is pushing products. So they're rapping about the chain hang low and about the cars bouncing and the rims and all those things, because it's commodities. For them, MC means marketing company. It doesn't mean somebody that's a master.
What does your version of MC mean?
It's the master of the ceremony. Somebody can take the microphone and control a crowd, but at the same time, share all the moods that we have, like anger, sadness, happiness, not just one version, you know. And that's for me is important. Hip hop needs to represent everything. But we understand, you know, the radio stations, who they are representing, even the television stations in South Africa.
Emil, we have to leave it there, unfortunately, but I want to leave our viewers here at home with something that Emil said. There is indeed power in the circle. It gives new meaning to a piece of anecdotal slogan in Cape Town, make the circle bigger. But there is power in that circle. And it requires that we all participate and we all give the rhythm by clapping. And that clapping means support. You've been watching Free Minds, Free Media. I'm Helga Jansen.
And I am Pumazam Tegazi. Till we meet again on Free Media, Free Minds.